Hello, family. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about the thin line between success and failure in Ghana. Let's get into it. So, I've made a couple of observations, and I often see that sometimes there are businesses or ventures that may have been successful when being done by somebody else, or a complete failure when somebody else tries to do exactly the same thing. Let me give you an example. In the real estate space, because there is um, a lot of supply in the high-end sector, people historically, asset owners historically, have done really well in real estate here because there was a lack of supply previously. Now, with the increased levels of supply, the winners of the previous boom are now joining the general market. What do I mean by that? Some people who bought in the early 2000s, certain properties, had seen multinationals come in, take them off their hands for really large sums of money and paid up front. So a large proportion of what you originally invested, let's say you invested, 200K in an apartment, like that would have been a really sizable top end apartment at that time. You would have got maybe 3,000 per month, 12 months up front. 36K of that is already paid off, and it just takes for a renewal or an extension on a project for that to continue. Now, with the influx of more and more options, there is a thin line between a successful real estate apartment or development or a quiet one. For the developers themselves, a successful one is just one that sells ultimately, to which they can do that, whether that be the diaspora. But that's a common misconception, that the diaspora are the ones purchasing these apartments and high-end real estate in Ghana. It's the high net worth individuals in Ghana that are primarily fueling the demand to some extent. I wouldn't say it's crazy demand, but there's demand there. So sometimes what happens in Ghana is that we tend to like what's new and what's shiny in the market. So a new apartment block comes up, everybody flocks towards there. Maybe there's a new bar, etc. And then something else comes up, and then that's the new attention, and people and their resources go to that new block or apartment. And there's an example I want to give in cantonments. So there's a famous or well-renowned, I don't know if famous is the right word, well-renowned development called Embassy Gardens. Embassy Gardens, I was there on the opening night of their off-plan launch. And it's built by Clifton Homes. Clifton Homes have been in Ghana for a number of years and are a very reputable developer. They have other developments coming up now. But right next door to it, there is another apartment building. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it was there before Embassy Gardens. And you can just see from the activity in and outside of both buildings which one is more successful, despite them being next door to each other. Now, Embassy Gardens is the most successful out of the two. Now, the reason why Embassy Gardens does so well is, one, the amenities have been well thought through. The location is perfect, but why should that impact the one that's next door? Well, the one next door had more of an old school style, so larger apartments. You typically probably want families, etc., that would occupy them, and the price point would be high as well. Whereas Embassy Gardens gave you, and many of the newer buildings do, give you the option of studios. Now, in the high-end sector, the studios are probably the most stable and profitable option out of stable maybe one beds and studios. The studios, because they effectively become the new hotel rooms in the system. You will get the different embassies, the different multinationals taking a studio off you for, a year, because they've someone has to be stationed in the country for a year, or a one bed, or whatever's in their allowable expenses. Studios also work really well for travelers who are coming, want the location, and want the location, less hassle around where physically they are, and they don't need too much, right? They're not living here, they're staying here. It's easier and simpler to have a studio or one bed than it is to maintain anything bigger. So Clifton Homes have been big on pushing the studios. The studios can be rented out at a more favorable nightly rate, even in town, sometimes $50 a night. And when you start hitting those numbers, you start encompassing a lot more volume of potential than if you are sticking with the, I don't know, if you're sticking with the larger apartments. From the ones that I managed when I was doing Airbnb, the ones that tended to have the void periods pop up, it wasn't a huge deal, but they still arise, and sometimes they were significant times. Was a large 2 bedrooms and up. They tended to stay on the market a little bit longer. So yeah, Clifton had designed their development Embassy Gardens. It's right next to the embassy, right? American Embassy, hence the name, in order to cater for a wide variety of people, right? Studios, 1s, 2s. I think there's 3 bedrooms in there as well. And the studios off plan came quite cheap relative. So this was a while ago. It'd probably be a good about 8 years ago now, that when I was at the launch event. And they came in at around, I'm going to say 65,000, 75,000 off plan, super off plan. But that was a developer you could trust. They had historical evidence of delivering on projects. They had the gallery, lots of different developments. They're actually one of the top developers. I might do a developer tier ranking actually. So yeah, but next door they were struggling, and they always have been struggling. You don't see much traffic going in and out. And then you get other aspects of the same thing. So let's say restaurants, for example. Restaurants is a really interesting one because they can open and close extremely quickly. They can fail extremely quickly. So for example, we've just gone past it. I should have filmed it. There is a boba tea craze here in Ghana. Very, very popular. And once one person starts and it does well, many people follow. So you get these boba tea spots popping up left, right, and center. There's one right behind us. I forget, Daddy Boba or something. That's what it's called. Now, Daddy Boba is always busy. There's always people queuing outside to get this boba tea, this bubble tea. And I've tried that, and I've tried others. We're just by ANC Mall now, and there's another one inside ANC Mall, which I personally prefer. But it's a little bit more expensive. But boba tea, they got their pricing really right, really like spot on. So their large cup is 40 cedis, right? Inside the mall, just kind of 1 minute walk down the road, is 60 cedis. Now, the one in the mall is doing okay, but Daddy Boba is the one. It's the spot. It's the place where everybody goes. There's a vibe. There's a kind of outdoor seating area. So these small details make them more successful than others. And overall, they understood the price point and got the price point bang on. There's another boba or bubble tea place called Boba Fie. Now, Boba Fie or Boba Home is just up the road here. When I drive past it, I'll show you. Now, we used to go to that one previously as well. They were a little bit more expensive for the same large cup, but it's they're kind of, the location isn't as prime. It goes under the radar, and they didn't hold the same standard as others do in terms of cut presentation and all of those kind of things. So it's these small details that can really have an impact on how successful your business or real estate venture can be. Okay, so building on the whole thin line between success and failure, I was talking about the boba tea businesses, and our favorite one just now, I've come to buy a new one, and unfortunately they put their prices up by 10 cities a cup. It's unfortunate. I really do like them. But now in a competitive market, I have to reevaluate my buying decision. Do I pick from Daddy Boba, which is 40 cities a cup, 30 cities less? Do I pick from Boba Fee, which is around the corner, 60 cities a cup? I might even be less. I think that's 50 cities. But these are the thin lines, because this is a very price elastic environment. So when doing business here, you have to be very smart on the purchasing power and the purchasing decisions available to people in the system. It's something that can make or break you. We had another breakfast place that we like to go to. They were new, they set their prices a certain level, and then all of a sudden they increased them by 30-40%. Now, I appreciate that some of these businesses are going to have higher rents. Look at the environment that I'm in now. This is the food court ANC Mall, so I expect our favorite boba tea place to have higher overheads, and they have higher standards, so that's why we're happy with them. I bought it now, but will I evaluate my choice in the future? Maybe. So this is a very price elastic system. You have to be smart in how you deliver the service for people to make sure that they're not put off by any high prices or increases in prices.